conclusion that the market is uncertain about the correct way to price a GT4. What's up YouTube and welcome to a new video. The Porsche Cayman GT4 is holding its value pretty well. In fact, when you managed to get your hands onto one when they were introduced and sold them onwards a bit later, you probably made a bunch of money. They were sold for quite high premiums. At this point, however, you can see that they are losing some money, and I'll show you in this video why. If your budget is not high enough to go for the Porsche Cayman GT4, you can check out my previous videos on the Porsche Cayman 987 and 981. Let's continue now with the GT4. In the graph which is popping up over here, we can see all the Porsche Caymans for sale in the market. The GT4s are clearly the most expensive ones, as we can see that they are represented all the way to the top right of the graph. There is only a 718 GTS and a 718S which is coming close in terms of price point. Zooming into the GT4s, which are displayed in the graph over here, we can see that you can already get into one from around 80,000 euros. Prices go then all the way up till around 120,000 euros. The blue line represents the average depreciation per year, and we can already see immediately that it's quite a flat line. If we then calculate the average depreciation in terms of euro value, we can see that the GT4 is depreciating on average 4,377 euros per year. This depreciation is actually less than for the Porsche Cayman GTS, which we saw in my previous video is depreciating at around 4,872 euros per year. So in terms of depreciation per year, the GT4 is clearly living up to its standard, as it is a limited edition car. It is however very important to note with this graph that the depreciation of 4,377 euros per year is an average number for the GT4. As you can see, in 2016, the price varies all the way from 80,000 euro to 120,000 euros. This means that if you will be buying a car from 2016, which is priced at the top end of the market, you might lose more per year than if you're buying at the lower end of the market. Moving on then to kilometer versus price, which is displayed in the graph over here, we can see that there are quite a lot of new cars for sale, as there are many dots which show almost 0 kilometers. The kilometer range stretches then all the way up till 25,000 kilometers. If we evaluate this kilometer range, it's quite interesting to see that many cars are almost brand new. Taking then into account the depreciation per 1,000 kilometers driven, which is shown by the blue line, it becomes evident why this is the case. The average depreciation sits at a shockingly high 578 euros per 1,000 kilometers driven. And to put this a little bit into perspective, the GTS is depreciating only at a rate of 200 euros per 1,000 kilometers driven. Hence, the GT4 depreciates at a rate which is 3 times as high as the GTS. Likewise to the year to price graph, the kilometer to price graph also shows large fluctuation in prices for the same kilometer range. If we take for example the 2,500 kilometer mark, we can see that you can already get into a car from around 90,000 euros, but that prices extend all the way up till around 120,000 euros. From this we can draw a tentative conclusion that the market is uncertain about the correct way to price a GT4. To make sense of all of these fluctuations, I had an algorithm identify different market clusters for me. We end up then with a plot over here, which shows the price, the year and the kilometers. 2 clear clusters emerge. We can see a red cluster and a white cluster. The red cluster are clearly the low mileage cars, as they all have less than 10,000 km driven. The white cluster represent the higher mileage cars, as they sit at a mileage of around 15,000 km. Now the black cars, these are interesting, as the algorithm is not classifying them as a separate cluster. Hence, they are noise in the market, meaning that they don't fit with the general market behavior. If you're therefore in the market for a GT4, I strongly recommend that you buy a car which belongs to one of the clusters, meaning the white or the red one, and not to a black dot or a black car, as these don't fit the general market behavior. Naturally, I actually looked to all the advertisements of the black cars, but I couldn't find any particular reason why they were marked as not fitting a normal market behavior. I took this analysis still one step further, meaning that I had the algorithm also identify which cars are priced over the market and which cars are priced under the market value. This is contrary to the previous plot, where we were only having the algorithm identify which cars belong to a certain market segment and if they fit a normal market behavior or not. We end up now with the plot over here. I specifically would like to discuss the 3 points which you can see over here in the white. These 3 identify that they are priced over the market, and I will show you why. These are all quite high mileage cars, as they start at around 15,000 kilometers and go up from there. The price is however extremely high and doesn't fit in the market, as they are priced at 100,000 euros or more. The actual and the fair market price, however, should be between 80 and 90,000 euros if we look to the year and the mileage of the cars. I also looked in the actual advertisements of these cars and there was no apparent reason why they should be priced so high. The main question is now, should you get a GT4 based on this depreciation analysis, yes or no? And I'm afraid there's no easy answer to that question. First of all, it strongly depends on the mileage you're planning to do with the car. If it's mainly a weekend car, which you will say let's drive for a maximum of 5,000 or maybe 10,000 kilometers, I would say yes, the GT4 is a smart choice, as the depreciation per year is extremely low, relatively speaking, and the depreciation per kilometer won't matter so much to you then. If you are however planning to do relatively a lot of mileage, meaning 10, 15 or even 20,000 kilometers or more, then I would discourage going for a GT4, as you will lose a lot per 1,000 kilometers driven. In this case I would maybe recommend to have a look to the GTS, as they depreciate around 3 times less per 1,000 kilometers driven. I'm however stressing that you do your research extremely well if you're buying a GT4. We saw that prices are fluctuating a lot, and that if you don't do your research well, you might be buying at the top end of the market and lose immediately a lot of value, even though you thought you were buying a car which is depreciating, relatively speaking, not so much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, as it really helps the channel. Also, smash the subscribe button and let me know down in the comments which car you would like to see analyzed next.